All right, so we're going to be looking at a warm-up for Unit 3, and it's going to be all about our parent functions. Now remember, our parent functions, these are test questions. Okay, so you need to make sure that you have these memorized. Okay, so you're going to have to be able to graph them and then give all this information. Okay, so please make sure that you are really going over these parent functions. You're asking questions. It's really just about, do you have these memorized? Okay, the goal, have them memorized. So looking at the first one, we have y equals x. If I make my input and output table to go with this, we still have -2, -1, 0, 1, and 2. We plug these into our inputs, guys, and it's y is equal to x. That means everything's going to match. So I'll have -2, -2, -1, -1, 0, 0, 1, 1, and 2, 2. I'm going to plot all my points. And connect my dots. And we have this nice, perfectly straight line. Since it's a nice straight line, we know that this is going to be linear. Remember, line, linear. Okay, this is going to be a linear function. Line, linear. Linear, linear, linear. Okay, we also know it's linear because my exponent here is a 1. Anytime my exponent's a 1, it's a linear. Okay, remember, you can say an L looks like a 1. So linear, 1. Okay, 1, linear. So now we're going to give all the information. Now my x's and my y's go on and on forever in both directions. So that means my domain and range are both going to be all real numbers. And then for my x, y, y intercepts, they go through the x and y axis both at 0, 0. So those are both going to be 0, 0. All right. Guys, this right here is a 6-point question just for having all this memorized. Okay, so please make sure you're going over that. The next one, we have y equals x squared. Right here, we see that my exponent is a 2, so that makes it quadratic. So since it's quadratic, I know my graph should look like a parabola. So we're going to make our little input and output table. Okay, so whenever I take my inputs and plug them in, I'll get y is equal to, instead of x squared, it becomes -2 squared. Guys, if you're putting these in the calculator, you have to use parentheses, or else the calculator will give you the wrong answer, I promise you. Okay, that's the number one reason people miss this question is because they don't use parentheses in the calculator. Okay, so -2 squared, -2 times -2 gives me a +4. Then I'm going to plug in the -1, so I have -1 squared. -1 times -1 gives me 1. Then I'll have 0 squared. Well, obviously gives me 0. 1 squared gives me 1. And then 2 squared gives me 4. So I've got all my points now. So -2, 4. -1, 1. 0, 0. 1, 1. 2, 4. All right. Alrighty, so we know that since it's a 2 and we have a parabola, we know it's quadratic. My domain, okay, I can put any x into the function, so it's all real numbers. My range, okay, notice that all of my y values are positive. Everything is in the positive area. Okay, it hits 0, but then it's all positive. So it's all going to be y is greater than or equal to 0. And our x and y intercepts, they both go through the x and y axis right there at 0, 0. All right, last one. Remember, this is a test question. You have to have all of this memorized. Okay, make flashcards, do something, but you have to have it memorized. Ask for an extra copy so you can go home and study it. Okay, whatever you have to do. All right, last one. We have y equals 2 to the power of x. Since our x is an exponent, that means it's exponential. So we're going to make our input and output table. And we're going to plug in all of our inputs. So for this first one, we'll have 2, and instead of to the x power, it becomes to the negative 2 power. Well, you can put this into the calculator, or you can just know that 2 to the negative 2 is 1/4. And we're going to keep doing this for all of our inputs. So we'll have now 2 to the negative 1, which is 1/2. 2 to the 0, which is 1. 2 to the first, which is 2. Then 2 squared, which is 4. So we're going to graph all of our pieces. So negative 2 and 1/4, negative 1 and 1/2, 0, 1, 1, 2, and 2, 4. Notice it gets really close to the x-axis, but never actually quite touches it. It's never going to get close to that x-axis. Well, it has that nice curve to it, so we know this is an exponential function. Our domain is still all real numbers. Our range, it gets really close to the x-axis, but never actually touches it, so it's actually going to be y is just greater than 0. It's not equal to, it's just greater than 0. It gets really close to the x-axis, but never actually touches it, so it's going to be none. And then my y-intercept, it goes through the y-axis at 0, 1. Alrighty, so like I said, these 3 questions right here are test questions. This is worth 18 points. So 100% you have to have this memorized, okay? So if you have any questions about it, please make sure you're asking. Okay, if not, you can go on to your next activity.